Kakadosh Boker Tov, we're continuing on Daf Nun Gimel Amud Aleph, 53a1. We are on the Mishnah, 53a. Okay, so the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Makom shenagu limkor behema daka lanochrim, mochrim. Makom shelo nagu limkor, and mochrim. So it says over here like this, in a place where they have a minhag to sell behema daka. Behema daka means there's a concept called behema gasa, which are the big animals. You know, a bull, a cow, these are the big, huge animals. And then there's behema daka, the small little animals, right? There's a difference even in the sakina of the shechita, right? In the knife of the shechita, the small ones, behema daka, the dakot, are the small ones. Gasot is, the big one. Yeah, so it says here, this is kvasim meizim, the sheeps and the goats, lanochrim. So in a place where they have the minhag to sell it to the goyim, mochrim, they sell it to them. In a place where they have the minhag not to sell it to the goyim, yeah, so then they don't sell it to them. Obviously, we're going to see in the Gemara what exactly we're referring to. Why would there be a minhag? Yes, no, so on and so forth. And mochrim, they don't sell it to them. But you will never sell them a behema gasa. So behema gasa is again the cattle, whether it's going to be horses, donkeys, okay? And not even you're going to sell them a galim usiachim, which are the calves and the siachin in English. How do you say? It's a female. You guys have it there in the art scroll.
Foals, Foals.
Foals, okay, foals, which is basically the female, no? What's it written there? What it's the? Does it explain?
It's young animals which are unfit for labor.
Okay. I always thought that the siachin was the female of the galim. But it doesn't explain it here either, so I don't know. Okay, fine. Right, so then it says here that you're not going to sell it to them whether they're going to be shlemin or shvurin, whether they're going to be shalem, complete, or broken. Yeah, which means that even though they're not going to be fitting for melacha, the rabbi is still prohibited to sell it to them. Right, because maybe then you're going to start selling them bigger animals.
What is it,
okay,
she donkey?
That's what I thought.
That's
Here,
what it shows.
that's what it shows. It's a she donkey. I remember it was a female. That's what I remember. But they just said it was just small animals. But it could be a young animal. No, but it's a she. It's the female or not? That's what it says there. Okay, but that's what I remember. I remember that the siachin was the female. But okay, fine. Rav Yehuda matir. Rav Yehuda is going to permit if it's going to be stallion. Okay. So he says Rabbi Yehuda is going to permit if it's a behema shvura, which means why? Because they don't actually wait, but rather they do shechita immediately. So therefore, you're not going to start suspecting that you're going to start permitting him other animals, because basically you sell the animal and immediately he does shechita. Ben betera matir besus. Ben betera used to permit the sus. Why? Because he used to hold that the sus is not for melacha, it's for rechiva. Meaning the majority of the times the sus, the horse, is not there for work. It's there to ride on. So therefore it's two different things. Okay? Fine. Here it says because it's lo ta'aseh kol melacha. So you're not allowed to do a melacha. But here, right? Okay, then it says here, nowadays we do sell all the animals for the goyim. The poskim explain how do we do that in different ways. This is the Shulchan Aruch Yeridea, Kuf Nun Aleph Siv Dalet. Okay, fine. This is also brought down in the Mishnah over Dozara Yudal Bet, and there the Gemara is going to explain exactly why and so on and so forth. Okay, fine. Let's go. Makom shenagu le'echol tzli belele Pesachim, a place where they had a minhag to eat tzli, roasted foods, right, on the night of Pesach. Ochlin. Makom shenagu shelo le'echol en ochlin. The place where they have the minhag not to eat, they don't eat it. Okay, so it all depends on the customs. Yeah, there's a lot of people, by the way, that have that custom. They have a custom on the night of Pesach that they eat siempre, rostido. They siempre like roast. Say like roasted food, meat. Okay, fine. Yeah, exactly. So that's what roasted dafka. Yeah, so it all depends on the minhag of. That's what he's saying here. It all depends on the minhag. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav says it's prohibited for a person to come and say that this basar is for Pesach. Why? it looks like he's going to be Magdish as an animal for the Pesach. Ve'ochel kochim b'chutz, and he's eating kochim b'chutz. By the way, you should know that's the reason why you're not supposed to point at the shank bone and say, this is the Pesach. Pesach zeh. Matzah zo, you point to the matzah. Yeah, maror zo, you point to the mother-in-law, your wife. You point to someone else, yeah? But you point to the maror. But when it comes to the concept of the...
Yes.
Listen carefully. Shulchan Aruch in Siman Tav Samechtet says, Asur lomar al shum behema, ben chaya, ben shechuta, basar ze lepesach, לפי שנראה שהקדישה מחיים לקורבן פסח, ונמצא אוכל קודשים בחוץ, אלא יאמר בשר זה ליום טוב. You're not allowed to say basar ze lepesach. Because the second that you say basar ze lepesach, it looks like you're making it like korban pesach. You have to say this meat is for Yom Tov, not for Pesach. If you say for Pesach, it's a problem. So that's what we just learned. Okay, so this is...
Okay, thank you.
Okay, pleasure. So it says here, Amar Rav Yehuda Marav Asul L'Marav Basar Ze Lepesach U'Minei Sheniya Kamakdish B'Yom Tov V'Chol Kodesh B'Chutz. Amar Papa says Davka Basar. That's only on meat. Aval Chite Baron Chitim. Lo, there's no problem. That means the person could say that these chitim, this wheat is for Pesach. Why? Teminta lepischa kamar. But he just means that it's being watched over for Pesach, which means it doesn't look like he's being magdish for Pesach. It just means that he's watching over it to make sure that it's not going to become chametz. Yeah. So he says ubasar lo. So what's the difference? Maybe the basar the same thing, right? Meitve, we have a question. Amar Rabbi Yosef, says Rabbi Yosef, Todos ishromi hinhiged b'nei Romi lechol gadim mikulasin b'leil Pesachim. Todos ishromi. This was a person that he was a Yisrael Chashuv, right? He was a Jewish person. He was very important, and he was in Rome, and he was manhig the Romans, the Roman Jews, right? That means basically the Jews in Rome, to eat gedaim mikulasim, gedaim tzluim, right, on the night of Pesach. Zechar korban Pesach. Shalchulo, they told him, ilmale todos ata. If it wasn't for the fact that your name is Todos, that you're such a person that's chashuv, kazadnu alecha nidui. We would have actually been gozer on you nidui, right? That you should have stopped this. Shata ma'achilet Yisrael kochim b'chutz, because you're giving them kochim outside of Yerushalayim, right? So, by the way, you should know in this week's bulletin, I just added in this part, this beautiful yesod. Why didn't they actually put him in the cherem? They should have put him in the cherem. So the reason why is because they went and they told him that he was an ani badat. He was an ani that he didn't know anything. And the fact that he was an ani and that he didn't know anything, that was instead of the cherem that they didn't have to give it to him. So they didn't have to put him into a cherem because he already became poor, right? Just like a person that becomes poor is considered that he died. So too if he's poor in his brain, right? Meaning in chokhmah, so it's considered also the same thing. So therefore they didn't have to do it. It was like his kapara, the fact that they told him that he's like clueless. You understand that, so then that was his kapara. However, though, what was he doing? He was mamash trying to get them. They were eating gedi mikula, which is like a korban pesach outside. So he was telling them, what are you doing? So says the Gemara, kochim salgadaitach. Is it really kochim? Ela ema, but rather you have to say, right, karov la'achilet Yisrael kochim mechutz. Nungim lamubet, 53b. It's close to giving Yisrael kochim outside. Mekulas in, mekulas lo. So it's mashma that the yisur is only if it's gedi mekulas, if it's going to be tzli. But if it's not going to be mekulas, then it's going to be permitted. And we're not going to start, because remember, the korban pesach had to be done sali. It had to be done roasted. If it wasn't roasted, so you're not going to be sechovah. So therefore you could do it. So Amri, they said mekulas lo shna amar lo shna lo amar. If it's mekulas, right, the gedi mekulas, so it doesn't matter whether he did say basar seh for pesach or not, it looks like you're eating kochim outside. But if it's not going to be, right, mekulas, if it's not going to be roasted, so piresh, if he said it's for Pesach, then it's going to be a problem. If he didn't say, so then it's not going to be a problem. So that means like this, if it's going to be roasted, so it doesn't matter what you're saying or not, it's already a problem. Because it's roasted gedi. And that was the korban Pesach. So it's a problem. But if it's not roasted, so it all depends on your saying. If you said that this is going to be for Pesach, it's a problem. If you didn't say, it's not a problem. Okay, another braita, another girsa in the braita, another version. Rav Acha matnila leha matrita Rabbi Shimon. Rav Acha, he went and taught this braita like Rabbi Shimon, right? And not like in the name of Rabbi Shimon, not in the name of Rabbi Yosef. So Matkif Rav Shesha comes and he asks the following question. If you're going to tell me that it's like Rabbi Yosef, so then it's going to be good, right? Why? Because Todos was actually very close to giving, right, the Yisrael kochim b'chutz. But if you're going to tell me it's like Rabbi Shimon, well, right, that's what Rav Acha just said. Minicha is good. But now we learned in the Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon poter shelo yitnadev kederech hamitnadvim. Rabbi Shimon comes and he says like this. If somebody comes and he says, Harei alai le'avi mincha min haseorim, I'm going to bring a korban mincha from the seorim, from barley. Rabbi Shimon says he doesn't have to bring a korban mincha at all. Why? He wasn't mitnadev kederech hamitnadvim, which means the one that's going to be mitnadev minchat seorim, minchat nedava, it only comes from chitim, from wheat, not from barley. So therefore, the fact that now is, for according to him, the fact, why is it that Todos was close to making Bnei Yisrael kochim b'chutz? He wasn't Magdish the Gedi when it was alive, right? So even if he was Magdish during the time of the roasting, that's not normal. Usually when you're Magdish a Gedi, how do you do it? When it's alive. When it's alive, you come, you take the animal, you say, this is going to be for a Pesach. But if it's already dead and now you're just roasting it, that's not the normal way of doing it. So if you're going to tell me it's Rabbi Shimon, it's incorrect, because according to Rabbi Shimon, it's not like the Derech HaMinadvim. So there's no problem. So why does he say that, they went and they told Todos, you were cut off to giving them to eat kochim outside? So it's incorrect. So Ravina Ravashi says, Ravina to Ravashi, one second, well, hold your horses. And if you're going to tell me that you're doing it like Rabbi Yosef, it is good? The Amar Rava says, Rabbi Shimon, Meshitat Rabbi Yosef, Omra. Rabbi Shimon was going in the Shita of Rabbi Yosef. Amar, he says, Af begmar devarav adam nitmas, that a person is going to be nitpas even on the end of his words, which means that the kavanah was to bring him in chatzorim, which means that the dat of the person was to finish his words. My love, the Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon, so like we say, if it doesn't mean that Rabbi Shimon holds like Rabbi Yosef also holds like Rabbi Shimon, that means both of them agree to each other. That means just like according to Rabbi Yosef, a person's nitpas b'sof dvarav, that means we go after the last words that he's saying. Yeah, so too Rabbi Yosef should hold like Rabbi Shimon as well, right? That's going to be a problem. So says the Gemara, no. Rabbi Shimon savar like Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Shimon holds like Rabbi Yosef, but Rabbi Yosef does not hold like Rabbi Shimon. Velo Rabbi Yosef savar like Rabbi Shimon. Okay, until here we're clear? Yeah? That means again, Rabbi Shimon holds like Rabbi Yosef, right? That even at the end, that means if he says, Harei alai le'avi mincha min haseorim, he wants to bring a minchat seorim. He said, right? He said, since he said it's lo kahogen, it's nothing, right? That's what it means, right? And since the soft varav was the seorim, and he didn't say chitim, that's why it's nothing. He said he wanted to bring a mincha. Yeah, but then he said from seorim, so it's nothing. However, though, Rabbi Yosef does not hold like Rabbi Shimon, but rather he holds that even if you didn't do it like the mitznadvim, you're still going to be chayav. So we ask the question now, Todos Yishroma Romi Gavra Rababa, right? Obale Grofinava. Was he a person that he was so great, and because of his kavod, they didn't want to give him nidui? Or was it because he was an Adam Alim, and because of fear, they didn't do it? Meaning like this, sometimes you have a person that he's great, so you have to respect him. So because of the respect, they didn't want to put him in the cherem. It's not zelomatim, to start putting him in the cherem. Or sometimes he's just balei grufin. Balei grufin just means he's very, very powerful. And because of that, they're afraid because they don't want to start up with him. But not because of the kavod that they're obligated. They fear. Was it mipnei kavod or mipnei yira? That's the question. So Tashema, so they're going to bring another proof. Why is it that they gave themselves up for Kiddushat Hashem? It says Lekivshan Aesh, the fiery furnace. Right? Look how nogia it is to halakha l'maaseh. We're learning about the Parashat Vayera. We're already Wednesday. So Wednesday, you're already into the next Shabbat, right? And we're in Parashat Vayera. Parashat Vayera, what is the second of the 10 plagues? Right? Tzfardim. So here we're learning a kal vachomer to the Tzfardim. Right? What is the kal vachomer to the Tzfardim? Umat Tzfardim she'en mitzuvim al Kiddushat Hashem. If Tzfardim, they're not obligated in Kiddush Hashem, Ketiv Bu, and it's still written, they went and they put themselves in the oven. When are they going to be found in the oven? Only when it's going to be hot. So they killed themselves. But we are obligated in Kiddush Hashem. That we have to give ourselves up for our lives. So basically what he's trying to say is that, wow, they came and they learned a kal vachomer to the tzfardim, right? That's what we're trying to see. Now, how is this connected? This was connected because it says the Gemara is going to bring, right, like the first proof that he was a Gavra Rabbah. That's what we're trying to bring down. It says why, right? He says, Alacha kama v'chama. So for the fact that the Braita is bringing this to Rasha in the name of Todos, It's mashma that he was a Adam Gadol. Right? But remember, how do we start the Braita? The Braita started. Tashema od zudarash todos ishromi. Todos ishromi came and he. Let me think about it. The one, by the way, this is one of the most famous kavachomers everyone knows about the Tzfardim. But this was done by Todos Ishromi. So there's a proof that he was a Gavra Rabbah. He was a great person. So the Gemara is going to bring another thing as well. Also, he used to always give to the Talmidei Chachamim in order that they should always get money. And that's why he was Zochet to Chochmah. Which means he was always, it says over here, he used to give merchandise to the Talmidei Chachamim in order that the Talmidei Chachamim would be able to sell it and make their parnasah. Which means that he used to help them. Just like we learned previously, that you should always make a partnership with Talmidei Chachamim, right? So to here, it was the concept of that he was helping them out. Because of that, he was Zochet to Chochmah. Ta'amar Rabbi Yochanan b'says Rabbi Yochanan, Kol ha'matim lekis Talmidei Chachamim, Zochev Yoshev Yeshiva shel Mala. If somebody is going to come and help the Talmidei Chachamim, he's going to be Zochev Yoshev Yeshiva shel Mala. Shneimar, ki betzela Chochmah, betzela Kesef. Yeah, which means in the Mechitza of the Chochmah is also going to be the Tzela Kesef. By the way, you should know in a lot of the books at the beginning, yeah, especially the Mish Mashiach ones, if I remember, you had it at the beginning, you had this. You had like an entire thing. You see it? I remember it always from the Ish Mashiach. It was always the Ish Mashiach, they have it. Betzela Chochmah, Betzela Kesef. Right? Beside the Chochmah, you have the money as well. If it wasn't for the money, the Chochmah wouldn't be there. Imagine a person could learn if he doesn't have parnasah. Yeah, every single 2 minutes he's going to be worrying. Does he have the parnasah? Doesn't he have the? How's he going to pay the bills? So what happens when the person comes and facilitates? Then now the person could be learning Torah, right? The Yisachar Zevulun concept. Yeah, but here it's based on the pasuk. It's a pasuk in Kohelet.
Talking about Balamea Baladea también.
No, but here the concept is that since he was doing that, that's why he was Zochet to Chochmah in himself, right? Which means that's why he was Zochet to Chochmah. He was a powerful person, but he always just helped the Chachamim. So that's why B'tzela Chochmah, B'tzela Kesef, and that's why it helped over here. Okay? Very good. Okay, so you have it. I showed it to you live, right? I remembered it from the Ish Mashiach. That's why I remembered it. The second that I saw this pasuk, said this is what it's brought down. Okay, number 19. Rashi.
Where is it coming from originally? What is it?
What you're talking about, Kohelet? Like the pasuk or what? It's a pasuk from Kohelet. Pasuk in Kohelet. Okay?
Yeah.
Fine. Mishnah. מקום שנהגו להליק את הנר בליל יום הכיפורים מדליקין. ומקום שנהגו שלא להליק, הם מדליקין. A place where they have a minhag to light the candles in ליל יום הכיפורים, they light, and a place they don't have, they don't light, הם מדליקים. ומדליקים בתי כנסת ובתי מדרשות, ומבואות או אפלים לגבי חולים. But you are going to light in בתי כנסת ובתי מדרשות, or in places where it's very dark for the cholim, and on top of the cholim. Let's see what are we referring to here. 20 and 21. The Gemara is going to say, one of the reasons why they didn't want is in order that they should stop from the Tashmish Hamitah, from the Varacher.
What is it?
Basically, that in a place of they wanted to do it in the Batei Knesset Batamid Rashot, because there, since it's Yevshar lechabed it, you could be mechabed shtiyah, so you could be mechabed it that way. But in any place where they had a chashash of Tashmish Hamitah, okay, let's see the Gemara. It says over here, the Gemara. Okay, the Gemara is going to mention it. Says the Gemara. Places like the dark alleyways. The mavui, mavuot ha'afelim. Okay, v'agabe ha'cholim, and on top of the cholim. So Tana, what does it mean? We learned in the Braita. Ben she'amru la'alik, uben she'amru shelo la'alik, shnehen ledavar echad nikavnu. Everything that we just mentioned here had to do with, they both had the same kavanah to stop from mishkevei isha. What does that mean? Right? It says over here, bechol makom she'en chashash l'tashmish hamitah, mitzvah la'alik nero mishum kvod yom kippurim. Yeah? So what does that mean? So therefore, the ones that they didn't want to light the candles was in order not to see their wives. And if they don't see their wives, they're not going to have any desires to have marital relations. So Amar of Yoshua says of Yoshua, Darash Rava comes and he expounds and he says, V'amech kulam tzadikim nolam yirushu aretz, ben shamru la'lik, ben shamru shelo la'lik, shenenu nikavnu d'var echad. They both had the same kavanah. Meaning the kavanah was, that's why it says, V'amech kulam tzadikim, everyone's tzadikim. Right? Whether it was the ones that they wanted to light candles in their houses or didn't want to light candles in their houses, All of it was for the same kavanah that they didn't want to have the marital relations, so they wanted to stop it in some way, one way or another. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, says Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, Em mavarechim ala ur el motzei Shabbat. You only make a bracha borei me'orei ha'esh on motzei Shabbat. Hoil utchila briatohu, because that was the beginning when it was created. We just actually mentioned this, if you remember, in the halachot, right, a few days ago. That the first, oh no, it was on Shabbat afternoon. We said that the esh was nivra b'motzei Shabbat harishona la'achar briat ha'olam. Right? That means basically it started becoming shekia. And once it started becoming nighttime, so Adam Rishon was afraid. Right? Why was he afraid? He thought that's it. The world is over. You understand? The first time around, now it was right after he sinned. He's all afraid. So what happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him da'at, and he brought 2 stones and he put them together to make a flint in order to make a fire. Okay, so that's why it's a borei me'orei ha'esh is only on Motzei Shabbat. That's the only time when you do it. Okay.
It's not that he got mad and he threw the stone and he saw a spark. There was a thing like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
When he saw the darkness, he thought that was it. So
and then that's what he did. Yeah, okay.
And he saw the spark coming out when he threw the stone, so he was able to light the fire.
No, here it doesn't bring that. It only brings down just the concept of. No, this is a midrash rabbah. There's a midrash rabbah, but it doesn't bring. It just brings down that he was afraid, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him that, and that's what he did. Then he brings down a huge machloket down here, whether it's considered birkat hashvach or birkat hane'anim. Okay, fine. So now it says Ela motzei Shabbat utchila briyatohu. Amalei usaba. So there was a zaken echad that came. Remember, when it says usaba, sometimes the Tosfot says that it could be that it's Eliyahu Navi. V'yiteiman. Some people say it's Rabbi Barachana. Right? Yishar, it's kol hakavod. V'chein Rabbi Yochanan. That's exactly what Rabbi Yochanan said also. You only make a bracha borei me'orei ha'esh or motzei Shabbat. Ula v'rachiv chamra ve'azil. Ula was going on top of the chamor and he was traveling. V'ava shakil ve'azil Rabbi Abba miminei v'Rabbi Barachana mismaleh. So Rabbi Abba was going on his right and Rabbi Barachana was going on his left. Amar le Rabbi Abba le'ula, says Rabbi Abba to Ula, v'dai de'amritu mishmeh the Rabbi Yochanan. Is it true that they said this in the name of Yochanan? Right? So Hadar Ula, so Ula, right? What he did is that he exceeded to Rosho, Chaza be Rabbi Barachana bishut. So he looked at Rabbi Barachana with a bad face, which means, did you Atamar Takem Hashem Rabbi Yochanan? Right? He never said that. So he said that really be'emet. Why? Because he says that we also do it on Motzei Kippur, because it's a davar chadash, right? That since the entire day was asur, and now Motzei Kippur is going to be permitted. So he was like looking at him as if saying, "What? That's what you're doing? You said this in the name of Yochanan." So that's what, right? That means Rabbi Barachana, he looked at the panim zoafot, right? He looked at Rabbi Barachana and panim zoachot. Okay, so what happened? So Amar Le, so Rabbi Barachana went and he told Ula, Ana lava ha'emri. I didn't say it to do with this. Ela ha'emri. I said it to do this. The Tana kamed Rabbi Yochanan. Because they taught in front of Rabbi Yochanan. Mishmom Lazar Omer Yom HaKippur shechal Yom b'Shabbat. Af imkom shamru shelo lalik malikim nekvod Shabbat. V'ani Rabbi Yochanan batre right v'chachamim osrim. So what happened was basically like this. I said it to do with another concept. What happens if Kippur falls out on Shabbat? Yeah. So therefore, even if there was a minhag not to light candles on Kippur, they do light it because it's called a Shabbat. So Rabbi Yochanan went and he answered, but the Chachamim say it's asur. Yeah, even if it comes out on Shabbat. Right? So that's what I said. Amaleh ada tehe. Yeah, I also agree with Rabbi Yochanan on this as well. So Rav Yosef, so Rav Yosef went and he read upon him this pasuk. Mai mamukim etza belev ish. Right? Nundal damdal. Vish tevuna yidlena. Mai mamukim etza belev ish zeula. That means he understood from the words of Rabbi Abba, right, that Rabbi Barachana was making a mistake. So the Rabbi Barachana was looking at him in panim zoafot, and he didn't say anything. That's what it means, etza belevish, which means he hid it in his heart, and he didn't tell Rabbi Barachana, right, why did you say that? Yeah, you understood. That means basically he understood from Rabbi Abba that Rabbi Barachana made the mistake. Yeah, so therefore he looked at Rabbi Barachana with a bad face, but he didn't tell him anything. Yeah, he didn't actually say anything. And that's a etza belev ish. The ish temuna yidlena ze Rabbi Barachana שדלה בתבונתו מה היה בליבו של אולה שהסתכל בו פנים זועפות. So he actually understood without actually being told. You understood what happened? Basically like this. Imagine right now we're three people here. We're having a conversation. Yeah, and all of a sudden, right, somebody comes and they tell me, this is halacha. Now what happened was I turned around to the other guy and I give him a look, a dirty look. So now automatically, by giving him the dirty look, he automatically understood
That was wrong.
that he was what was going on. So he automatically said, by the way, I never said the name of Yochanan. I said it on this. And then Ula went and he said, I agree with him. So first of all, kol hakavod to Ula that he didn't actually tell him that he made the mistake. He just looked at him. Yeah, but kol hakavod to Rav Chana that he already understood from the look, from the tvunot, that he was able to say, no, by the way, it wasn't the talking about something else. Okay? V'inu and Ula and Rabbi Bar Chana, that they didn't agree to Rabbi Abba, right? That they don't do it on Motzei Kippur, Kiman Savrua. Who do they hold like? So basically the minhag is that you do it whether it's on Motzei Shabbat or on Motzei Kippur. And that's a minhag. Remember, when it says V'chen amad davar, it means that's the am, V'chen amad, V'chen am, right? Davar, right? That's what they're noheg. Okay? So they're going to ask the following question. So the second that you see the candle, you make a bracha immediately. Rabbi Yehuda says, Sodran al kos, you have to put it on the cup. Meaning it's not just that you see a light, you make a bracha. You do it on the kos of Havdalah. Rabbi Yehuda, you have to do it on the Rabbi Yehuda. Okay? So it comes out that he was passing like Rabbi Yehuda, that you're only going to do it on Motzei Shabbat. So therefore, why did you say that it's going to be also on Kippur? So it says the Gemara, it's not a question. Kam be'ur sheshavat, kam be'ur yotze min ha'etzim v'navarim. If it's an ur sheshavat kol Shabbat, kol Kippur, which means that you have a candle that was also resting the entire Kippur, so then it's okay. But if you have a candle that's not resting the entire Kippur, so then no. Right? That's what he says. Kam be'ur yotze min ha'etzim v'navarim. If it's going to come out on Motzei Shabbat, you don't make. That's why, by the way, you have to make sure that on Erev Kippur, you light a candle, and that candle is going to stay on the entire Shabbat, the entire Kippur. And then Motzei Kippur, you make a bracha on that candle. Okay? That's called the Ner Shavat. So Tani Chada, we learned in the Braita, Ura Yotze Min Ha'etzim V'Marechim Alav, Tani Chada V'Marechim Alav, right? So the exact same thing. Lakasha is not a question. Come Motzei Shabbat, come Motzei Kippurim. It all depends. If it's Motzei Shabbat, we make it even on Ur, which comes out of Etzim Avanim. Meaning on Motzei Shabbat, we do make the bracha on any type of a fire. But on Motzei Kippur, it's only Ner Shavat. Rebbe Mefazran. Rebbe used to put the Birkat HaOrim Mesamim, that when he used to come and see it, he used to do it immediately. And then when they used to bring them the Besamim, he used to do it immediately. Bechia Mechantzan, he used to throw it on the kos. So Amr Rabbi Yisrael Rebbe Rebbe Mefazran, Chozeh V'Sodran Al HaKos Kedei Leotzi Banav U'Memeto. He's able to do it again in order to be Motzi his family. So for even though he did the Besamim and he already did the Burim U'Re'esh, they would do it again. Okay? The Ur b'Motzei Shabbat Ibre. Are you going to tell me that the light, the fire was still created on Motzei Shabbat? Fatanya, we learned in the Braita. Shabbat. There were 10 things that were created in Shabbat Neshmashot. And these are the 10 things. The Be'er, right? This is the Be'er of Miriam. The Man, Keshet, right? This is the rainbow, right? Ktav, the letters, which is on the Luchot. Michtav, this is the Kli that they used to make for the Luchot itself. Kivro Shel Moshe, Me'ara Shema Bo Moshe. This was the first time the cave where HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to Moshe. Eliyahu, right, that he was mitchabe bevorcho me'zevel. Pticha piaton. So this is the me'ara of Eliyahu Navi and the me'ara of Moshe Rabbeinu. The petichat piaton, right, the mouth of the aton, right.
Me'ara Carmel is me'ara we're talking about? Eliyahu Navi?
It was the same one.
Wow.
No, it was the same one. It wasn't Ara Kamel, but it was the same cave.
Moshe Rabbeinu.
Nikrat Tatzur. Nikrat Tatzur is a me'arash nivra בערב 7 שלוש מברשים ונשמשות, ובא גם מתחבא אליהו בבורחו מפני זבל שאיימה להורגו. It wasn't Hara Kamel. Hara Kamel was where he did the entire thing with the Nevi'ah Baal and all those stories. Right? Here we're talking about where did he hide. When he went into hiding, he hid in Nikrat Tatzur, it's called. And Nikrat Tatzur was a me'ara that Moshe Rabbeinu already went at the beginning.
And where is it? without-
Where? I don't know where it is. Doesn't say here.
Interesting.
והיה בעבור כבודי ושמתיך בנקרת הצור, וסקותיך פי עליך עוד עוברי. I don't know where it is, but it says נקרת הצור.
Nikrat.
נקרת הצור. It's a pasuk in the Torah in Kitisa, Parashat Kitisa, after Chet HaEgel. Okay.
It's not chronological, the things.
Yeah, I know it's not chronological. No, but he's just asking, where is this? Where is this?
Yeah,
case?
yes, but is there a reason why it's like this, not in the chronological?
You're asking why is it not chronological? It's a good question. I don't know. It's a good question. Does anybody say anything? No. It doesn't explain.
Okay, sorry.
No, not sorry. I just don't know. I'm not sure. It doesn't explain. It doesn't explain why it's not in chronological order. It just brings it down. Okay, fine. Very good. So next, okay, then it says over here, Be'er, okay, we just said, Upticha Piaretz, and also the land, when it made the earthquake in order to swallow up the Reshaim, like Korach. Okay? Rabbi Nehemiah Omer Mishum Aviv, Rabbi Nehemiah says in the name of his father, Afa Ur ve'Pered, so too the fire and the Pered was also done in Menesh Mashot. Rabbi Yoshia says in the name of his father, Afa Ayil, also the Ayil of Avraham Avinu that he took instead of Yitzchak. The Shamin is a tolat, right? Which is like the, how do you call the tolat, which is the
Worm.
the worm, but it does like like it does an X-ray, like it lasers, right? That it cuts through, right? Rabbi Yehuda says Hafat Tzvat, even the Tzvat, also the same name. Yeah, he used to actually say Tzavta b'Tzavta mitabda. The Tzvat that they make, the Napachim, was made like from another Tzvat, right? The Tzvat is like tongs, something like that. So it says here Tzavta kamaitama, who made the first one? Halai, right? So he says B'riya b'dei shamayim. It was the meaning that you could only make tongs with another tongs. So therefore he's saying the first one was made from Hashem. Amale efsharji asena b'tfus. You can make it in a mold. Right? And that's what you could do, and you can make it that way. So halai b'riya b'dei adami. So really, it's not. It's from a human being. So it says Gemara lakasha. It's not a question. Ha be'ur didan, ha be'ur diginam. It all depends. Our fire, the fire of Geinam. Urdidan, our fire was made in Motzei Shabbat. The fire of the Geinam was made on Erev Shabbat. Yeah? So imagine, fire of Geinam was already created Erev Shabbat. We wanted to make sure, yeah, that anybody that goes off a little bit, whoops, it gets burnt a little bit. The Ur de Geinam Erev Shabbat Ibre. This is what? The fire of Geinam was on Erev Shabbat. But Tanya, we learned in the Braita, there were 7 things which were created before the world. So this we were all learning on Shabbatot. Remember, in Birkat Rebbe Velu, and these are them. Torah, Teshuvah, Gan Eden, Geinam, Kiseh, Kavod, Bet HaMikdash, Ushmon Mashiach. So you see from here, the Geinam was there. And this is even before the creation of the world. Torah, Dichtiv Hashem Karani Reshit Darko. Right? The Reshit Darko. Teshuvah, that means each one is a pasuk. Torah is because the same as it says, Hashem Karani Reshit Darko, before the beginning of the world. Teshuvah, Dichtiv Beterem Adim Yuladu. Right? Even before the world, the mountains and everything was created. Uchtiv Tashev Enosh Adakav, Toshu Bnei Adam. Gan Eden, it's written Vayita Hashem Elokim Gan Eden Mikedem. So therefore it says Mikedem comes from the word Mugdam Lolam. It was before the world. Geinam, because it's written Yeshaya Ki Aruch Me'etmol. Tofteh, right? The Geinam is Tofteh, and it was done from yesterday, meaning before the world was created. Kiseh Kavod Bet HaMikdash, Kiseh Kavod Manom Rishon, Mekom Mikdashenu. Right? It was already from the beginning. Rishon means before the world. Shmo Mashiach Tichtiv Yishmo Leolam Yifnei Shemesh Yinon Shemo. So Geinam was also created before the world.
Yeah.
So Amri, so they said, Chalala hu denivra kodesh nivra olam. The place of Geinam was created before the world, but the fire of Geinam was Ben Hashmashot. Yeah, Ben Hashmashot. Our fire was Motzei Shabbat. The fire of Geinam was Ben Hashmashot. We asked it was created before the world. The place was created before the world. The fire was on Benish Mashot. Okay? So says the Gemara, are you still going to tell me that the fire of Geinam was done on Erev Shabbat? We learned on the right that it was on the second day, on the second day. It will never be turned off. There's some of the fire won't turn off. Why is it not written Kitov on Monday, on the second day of the week? Because they have the fire of Geinam. So it's not dov. It's not tov. Everyone's going to start getting burnt. That's not good. Says Abilazar, even though it doesn't say Kitov on Monday, again it said Kitov on Yom Shishi. Why? Because there the Reshaim are going to be judged on it. But that means basically the human beings were still not created. That's why it didn't say Kitov. But then after it was already Mital Adam, so then the fire of Geinam is Kitov. Yeah, this is what we were speaking about this morning. Geinam is good. It's Kitov, and that's why it was Kalalo on Yom Shishi. Yeah, so therefore you see from here that the fire which was created on Yom Shani, right? That's what he's saying over here. It's our fire. So therefore the question goes back again. How are you telling me that it was created on Motzei Shabbat? Yeah, it should be on Yom Shani. Ela chalal kodem shenivra olam. The chalal of Geinam, meaning the space of Geinam, was on before the world was created. Urdide, the fire of Geinam, was b'sheni b'Shabbat, like Rabbi Yosef, which was on the second day of creation, just like Rabbi Yosef. Urdidan, but our fire b'machshava ala libaro b'Shabbat, velo nivra motzei Shabbat. Hashem wanted to, ki'ilu, it was in his mind to create it on Erev Shabbat ben Mashot, but he didn't create it until motzei Shabbat. The time we learned in the right of Yosef, there were two things that wanted to be created on Erev Shabbat, and they weren't created before until Motzei Shabbat. Motzei Shabbat, he gave him the de'ah, he gave him a mindset, just like the mindset of above. And he brought two stones and he started, how do you say it? Putting them together, shafshafan, rubbing them together. Zubizuv, Yatzame and Oren, came out the fire. And he brought the sus and a chamor, two animals, and he put them together and he crafted them, and then they made a pere. They made the mule, no? The mule. You have a horse and a donkey, it's a mule, no? Comes out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes.
Says, pere bime anahaya. The first pere was during the days of Anah. And that's what it means here. The ones which are asking different stirot, Yomrim used to say, Ana pasulaya. Ana was a mamzer. Because his uncle, which means his mother's brother, was his father. That means his father was also his uncle, right? But it's his father and an uncle, which means that the brother had relations with his sister, and then came out Ana. Yeah, that's what it says here. She'achiv me'imo haya aviv, kefi sheber miyad. Ulficha chevi pasul leolam. Therefore, he was the one that brought.
He was a half brother.
Yeah, it was a half brother as well, right? That's why he brought, right? Also a pered. He brought a psul in the world. Shneimar says in pasuk, ele bnei seir achori v'tzivon v'ana. So you see here that Ana was the brother of Tzivon. Uchtiv, and it's written, ele bnei tzivon v'aya v'ana. So Ana was the son of Tzivon. So make up your mind. One more time. Ele bnei Seid, these are the children of Seid, Hachori v'Tzivon v'Ana. So Ana was actually a brother of Tzivon. But then it says, Ele bnei Tzivon, these are the children of Tzivon. And then again brings down Ana. So what's going on? Ela melamed shebat Tzivon alimo. It's even worse. Tzivon had relations with his mother. Ve'olid mimena Ana. And then he had Ana from there. So Ana was also the brother and also the son of Tzivon. Who was Ana anyway? During the time of, in the beginning, in Parashat Bereshit, all the, yeah?
No, at the end of Bereshit. Few parashiot.
The end.
Few parashiot.
What do you mean a few parashiot? I didn't understand.
It was not, we read it 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago.
Yes, yeah. No, 100%. You're right. At the end of Bereshit, but the story though was taking place of the Bnei Seir. It's true, because these are the children of Seir, of Esav and everything. Yeah, this is the children of Esav. I apologize. I thought we were talking about. I thought we were talking about the end of Parashat Bereshit at the beginning of the creation of the world. Fine. So it says here, "Ve'olim mimena ana," right? Okay. Ve'dilma tre anavu. So ask the Gemara, maybe the two anas. How many times do you have it? You have an uncle, a son. They all have the same names. Maybe they're two different anas. Why are you making that? He had a relation with his mother, and then this, that. What's going on? So Rava comes and he says, Amina minta de Shvur Malka lo amara. I'm going to say something that even Shvur Malka never said. Umanu, and who is that? Right? Who is Shvur Malka? Shemuel. Why was he called Shvur Malka? Because he was like a melech v'dinim. He was an expert in dinim. So just like, like Mipia melech. Ike da'amri, some people say, Amarav Papa, Amina minta de Shvur Malka lo amara. Umanu, what is it? That's Rava. Amar Kra, it says in a pasak, Hu ana. Hu ana de meikara. When it says Hu ana Hashem matzai taimim, that who was extra. Hu ana is extra. So what? It's coming to teach you it's the same ana that we just mentioned before. That's why we said it was the same guy and it wasn't two different people. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita. Asarat dvarim nivru berev Shabbat. Ben Hashmashot. There were 10 things that were created in Erev Shabbat Ben Hashmashot. Elohim berman keshet k'tav v'michtav v'luchot kivrosh Moshe me'harash Moshe Eliyahu ticha bi'atom ticha bi'aretz livlo at reshaim. Yesh omrim, some people say af maklo shel Aharon. Even the makel, even the staff of Aaron, right, that you have shekadei ufrachea, that the shkedim and the flowers came out, the almonds and the flowers. Remember that that's also mentioned in this week's parasha, because when it says v'yach matei Aaron, we're going to see it, I think tonight or tomorrow night, we're going to see it in Parashat Shavua, right, that there's a machloket. There was a machloket, right? So we're going to be mentioning the entire concept of, in the nighttime, we're going to be mentioning there was a machloket, who was the makelav? When it says that he went and he used a stick, whose stick did he use? Well, it was for the snakes and all those things. Whose stick was it? Was it Moshe's or Aaron's? So we're going to speak about that, right? Remind me tonight, okay? Then it says, even the mazikim, some people say, af, nundal damubet, 54b, bigdosh shel adam harishon, even the beged of adam harishon. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, shivat dvarim mechusim ibnei adam. There are 7 things which are hidden from the human beings. Ve'elu yom hamitah, the day of death, yom hanechama, the day of when he's going to be consoled from his worries. Omek kadin, right? A lot of people, they make mistakes in omek kadin. What does it mean here? Rov bnei adam toim the din, because they are danim b'shetchiyut, and they don't know, they don't realize how much deep you have to go into the din. Ve'en adam yodea ma belibo shel chavro. You don't know what's in your friend's heart. Ve'en adam mamash misaker, right? You don't know what you're going to make parnasaon. Umalchut bedavi matai techshor. We don't know when the Mashiach is going to come. Malchut mechayevet matai tichle, or when Romi is going to be destroyed. Tanu Rabbanan, those are 7 things which are hidden from us. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita. Shloshat dvarim alu b'machshava libarot. There were 3 things that wanted to be created at the beginning. Sheshet Bereshit. V'im lo alu din hu sheyalu. And if they didn't, it should have come up. Right? Alamet sheyatzliach. What does that mean? That the met should be masriach. Because if not, then they would actually keep them in their houses, and they would always have the tzar in front of them. Meaning, it's a chesed that the deceased rots. Because if it wasn't a chesed that the deceased rots, people will keep the deceased in their houses. They want to remember it. So look, this is the whoever it is. You understand? So therefore, it was done. It was a chesed of Hashem, and that people forget the people that pass away. It's a chesed of Hashem. Yeah. And also, why? Because if not, you would leave it there forever, and then it would always be ravon. The Yeshomrim is also a matbea sheyatzeh. That the matbea would be yetzeh. Says Mishnah. Okay. Matbea sheyatzeh. We're going to try. Yeah, it's only. Oh, okay, it's getting late. Okay.
9 o'clock. I need to go.
You have to go. Okay, fine. But so then try to go on the YouTube. You'll see. We're going to try to do it as quickly as possible until the bottom. So that way we already did the extra daf. Yeah. Okay, very good. So it says here like this: Makom shenagu la'asom melacha b'tisha b'av osin. A place where we have a minhag to do melacha on Tisha B'av, we do the melacha. Makom shenagu shelo osa melacha. A place where we don't have to do melacha, en osin. You don't do melacha. Uvchol makom, and in any place. Right? It says here, Talmidei Chachamim betelim. Talmidei Chachamim are going to be batel from Melacha on Tisha B'Av. That means Talmidei Chachamim for sure they don't work on Tisha B'Av. The question is other people. Rabban Gamliel says, Lo nem yaseh adam et atzmo talmid chacham. A person should always make himself like a Talmid Chacham in order not to work on Tisha B'Av. Amar Shmuel says, En ta'anit tzibur b'Bavel el Tisha B'Av bilvad. The only ta'anit tzibur that they do in Bavel is only in Tisha B'Av. Right? Because obviously they stop working during the day and everything, and all the other chumrot and everything. That's only be'emet ta'anit tzibur. Okay, lememra the Tzara Shmuel. Are you going to tell me Tisha B'Av ben hashmashot shelo asur? Are you going to tell me that the ben hashmashot of Tisha B'Av is also asur and eating and everything? Shmuel says Tisha B'Av ben Shvashot mutar. Everything's going to be permitted during Ben Shvashot. Now, if you're going to tell me that Shmuel holds Kol Tani Tzibur ben Shvashot Shmuel mutar, everything is permitted. But now we learned Ochlim v'Shotim bod yom. You're allowed to eat and everything. Lemiyutima, what is it coming to exclude? Isn't it coming to exclude Ben Shvashot? Which means that the Ben Shvashot of Tani Tzibur is going to be asur, right? Why? Because it's safek, it's nighttime. So says the Gemara, no. Lemiyutim shecha. It's coming to exclude that we're not going to eat and drink once it becomes 100% nighttime. But Ben Shvashot of the Tani Tzibur, we're not going to be machminim misafek. Okay? So it comes out, right, that this is what we learned there in Tanit. So Neima Mesayele, so why don't we say that this is a proof? The safek of Tisha B'Av is mutar. Safek of the Kippur is going to be asur. My sveko, what does it mean sveko mutar? Are we talking about the Ben Shvashot? The Ben Shvashot is going to be asur? So it says the Gemara, no. Kedaman Rav Shisha ber Ravidi, just like Rav Shisha said the name of Ravidi, likviyad yarcha, when we're coming and we're going to be misupak on the day of the month. Hachanami so to hear likviyad yarcha. So the kviyad yarcha, when you're making it in the month. So Darash Rava Bazrava came and he said, ubarot u'menikot mitanot mashlimot. Right? Bo kederek shemitanot mashlimot b'yom kippurim. That means on Tisha B'Av, pregnant women and women which are feeding, right? That they're feeding their children. It says here they have to be mitanot u'mashlimot, they have to finish, just like they do on Kippur. That's what they said. That's why, by the way, you should know that Tisha B'Av is so strict, just like Kippur, basically. Does Rabbi Yochanan actually say that? It's not like Tani Tzibur. Are we not talking about Ben Shvashot? Says no, like Melacha. Meaning on Tisha B'Av you're allowed to work mitzad halacha. It's only there's minagim not to work or things like that. But technically mitzad halacha you're allowed to. So says Gemara Melacha. I thought we just learned it in our Mishnah. Makom shenagu lasom melacha b'Tisha B'Av osin makom shenagu enosin. And even Rashbag lo amar dechiyat v'lo avid, right? Lo mixi kiura aval meisa lo asa, but he never prohibited the work. It's just that it doesn't look like you are if you're going to become a tamid chacham on Kippur and not work. Elamayeno ketani tzibur. What does it mean letani tzibur? Letfilat neila. On Tani Tzibur they used to pray neila. So on Tisha B'Av they never pray neila. So ask the Gemara. V'amar Rabbi Yochanan says v'lavay yishay yitpalel adam v'olech kol hayom kulo. Says why? You should also always pray. Right? That means if you're going to pray an extra tefillah, that's not a tefillat bracha v'talah. Why not? Why don't you pray tefillat, an extra tefillah on Tisha B'Av? Pray an eilah. And so the Gemara, hatam chova, hatam reshu. No. Tefillat there, by tefillat ne'ilah, by a Tani Tzibur, it's a drabanan. Here by Tisha B'Av, it's a reshut. It's not a chova. It's not a chova midrabanan. It's just if you want to. If you want, you could answer, what does it mean that it's not going to be like a Tani Tzibur? To do the 24 blessings of a Tani Tzibur. That means there they don't do the 24 blessings. They used to do on Tani Tzibur, they used to do 24 blessings in Amidah. Right? You're not obligated to do that. Okay? Rav Papa says, my Tani Tzibur, what does it mean like Tani Tzibur? It's not like a Tani Tzibur. Eno karishonot. It's not like the Tani Tzibur at the beginning. Ela kachronot, but rather like the other ones. That the Ben Shvashot is going to be a subach l'shtiyah, right? And it's going to be achila, is going to be prohibited even during the Ben Shvashot. It's going to be prohibited. So Meitve, so we're going to ask a question. What does it mean sveko mutar? Are we not talking about the Ben Shvashot? No, we're talking about lekviyah diacha. We're talking about in a case where you don't know when the Rosh Chodesh is. So therefore you have to do 2 days. So misafek, you have to do 2 days of Kippur, but by Tisha B'Av you only have to do 1 day. You don't have to do 2 days. But everything else, it's going to be the same. So there's a proof to Rabbi Lazar. You're not allowed even to put your finger in water in Tisha B'Av, just like you're not allowed to put your finger in water during Kippur. So Meitvei, why was you benefiting and you're not allowed to benefit? So Meitvei, we ask a question. It was the exact same halachot between Kippur and Tisha B'Av. So says the Gemara, Tanya we learned, you're not allowed to wash yourself. It's only called gufo. But panavia davraglav, no, but you're allowed to wash your hands, face, and feet. So what's going on? So Rav Papa comes and he says, Nunhe Amud Aleph, Tana kule katani. The Tana is actually teaching the different kulot of Tisha B'Av. So the beginning it said that there's no difference between the lechatchila, but sveko asur, sveko mutar. And at the end it said it's also going to be to do with melacha. But it's not talking about the chumrot of Tisha B'Av, right, that he does say over there. So therefore, it's 2 different halachot. You're right. In Tani Tzibur, it's only l'chitza kol gufo. In Tisha B'Av, it's like Kippur, that's even in just dipping the finger as well. So B'ezrat Hashem, we continue tomorrow. B'ezrat Hashem.